Hi everyone. So I get asked a lot on how I edit to get like a very light and bright look. And to be perfectly honest and upfront, I do use Lightroom presets to help me get the look I like. And it's more of a workflow efficiency decision that I made. I first learned how to use Lightroom without any presets, but ultimately, when I started getting busier, I needed something that was going to work well and fast, and I ended up finding a few presets I really love. And right now, I've been using Noble presets for the majority of my portrait work. For all of my flat lays, I do edit those with my own presets just because I don't want a lot of color shifting. I want the colors to be really true, especially if I'm working with products. So, but I'm just gonna run through how I would edit with both using Noble presets and how you could get the look without a preset. So this is what we're aiming to get. So we have the before image here, the after here, and that's what we're gonna be doing. So I've already created a virtual copy that we're gonna be working from, and the settings are reset. So when I go to Noble, I'm gonna go to Noble Signature, just click on it, and amazing, like it does such a good job. Like that's what I mean by, efficiency here. And then one thing I would do is reduce the highlights a little bit more because we were blowing them out, maybe decrease just a tad right there. You can go into these other Noble settings where like they have all these other tools, but generally it looks really good the way it is. So what I'm just gonna do is grain off. If I wanted to add a little bit more punch to it, I could add punch. I could add even more punch, but I'm gonna just leave it as regular, leave the grain off because typically with my branding clients, I don't want too much grain in their images. I might actually increase that just a tad. And that's honestly pretty much it. And then I would export this and it'd be good to go. My dog is about to start barking. He's growling in the background. I apologize for that. Okay, so that's how I would edit with Noble. I'm gonna go ahead and reset all these settings, and I'm gonna show you how I would do this by hand if I didn't have a preset. So first thing I'm gonna do actually is scroll down here. I'm gonna click these two buttons, because what that's gonna do is correct the distortion of your lens by enabling profile corrections. The next thing I'm gonna do is increase the exposure. I'm going to decrease the highlights. I'm going to decrease the whites just a bit because they were getting blown out. You could see around this area of the image, they were getting blown out just a bit. And her skin looks a little warm to me. So when dealing with temperature, and granted, I'm focusing on our laptop, that was intentional for this particular image. When I'm dealing with temperature of an image, sometimes I go to their skin rather than looking at the whites first. Just to really gauge where it should be at. Probably right about there, I think is good. Yeah, and I'm gonna boost the contrast here. All right, and then let's see, sometimes I just play with the shadows. For this, I'm actually gonna leave the shadows a little bit darker, I think. I'm gonna stay with that for now. Blacks, again, I sometimes play with them a little bit. I'm gonna actually increase those. The clarity and dehaze I'm gonna leave alone. And her skin is looking still a little bit more orange than what I would prefer. So one way to deal with that is go down to your color sliders here, and I'm gonna go to luminance. And what's interesting about luminance is it adds, like, it brightens or darkens that particular color, right? So, oh, she just went to the tanning bed and got super tan. So one thing you can do is add luminance to the color you really want to brighten. And you don't want to overdo it though, that's the trick. And then I'm actually going to bring down the saturation of the oranges just a tad, and of the yellows just a tad. And that's looking really good. The other thing, you know what, I think I actually want to bring down these blacks a little bit more, and I think I want to increase my contrast just a tad. And then what I'm going to do, actually I'm going to increase my shadows now. So what I'm just doing is trying to get the right amount of brightness, because ultimately, I'll show you, this is the preset. and this is the image I'm working on. So if we were to emulate that, it'd probably be right about there. So, friends, that is looking really good. I think that's as best as we're going to get it without the preset. And that's how I would edit. So if you have questions, let me know. Hopefully this was helpful for you, and happy to do more tutorials. If you want to get in touch, let me know what you'd like to see.